Now, Mariam, I will make a response to the question you raised as we were taking math class. Your question was that your female teacher at the Fajr Arabic Training Center convicted a man leaving his wife or his mother or sister, I think, with a gang of snatchers or kidnappers that came and attacked him and took away his mother or wife or sister. So you said your female teacher at the center convicted this person and considered him uh, guilty of treachery or betraying his people that were in his presence while they were going outside, or maybe they were going somewhere. So, but I am sure that we can't just pass the ruling like that. Maybe your female teacher at the Fajr Center is not an Islamic scholar, so and it's not appropriate to take any ruling from any kind of person trying to speak about religion. So we need to go back to the scholars so that they can give us appropriate rulings regarding different incidences that happen. So this is what I think you should do. But I think it is good that you asked me this question. Otherwise, you would have been taking this incorrect ruling from your female teacher from the Fajr everywhere you go. But that is not right. So what the scholars of Islam have said regarding this type of incidents is that we have two possibilities, and a person will see what is appropriate to be done regarding this type of incidents. Sometimes if you have your own mother with you or your sister or your wife, so and you are going away and you have a gang of thieves or stealers, or let's say like kidnappers trying to take away your mother or your wife or your sister, or they're even trying to rape her and you are under the point of gun, for example. So you have two things to do. You have two possibilities. They said if you are really sure that if you try to fight with them, they may end up killing you and killing even your mother that is with them, or your sister or your wife, then Islam allows you to leave them. And this does not mean that you betrayed your mom or your sister or your wife. It doesn't mean that. Because we say every time that la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, that there's no any movement in the universe, wa la quwwata, or any power, illa billah, except with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So everything goes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everything comes from Him, and everything goes back to Him. So we don't believe that we can actually do anything except with His own grace. So we cannot be rash. Islam does not teach us to be rash. That is to jump into conclusions without taking considerable consideration. Taking proper considerations to consider the circumstances surrounding what we try to do. So we need to check if we are able to do something. Like maybe the people that came to you, they are very weak, they are not strong as you are, and you can do something, or you can quickly call people to help or whatever. Then you have to do that. And if you don't do that, then we can say this person betrayed his people. They trusted him. They considered him to be trustworthy, and they went out with him. Now, when they are in trouble, then he leaves them with the gang of bad people. So we can say that. But if he is not able, and he didn't even fight because he's not able to do anything, then he is justified. We can't convict him. We can't consider him to be guilty of leaving his people. And that was what happened with Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. And we know Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, he had the first wife by the name Sarah, who gave birth to the prophets Ishaq and Yaqub. And before she was able to give birth to this prophet, then he had a female, a slave wife from the same wife, from this wife, by the name Hagar from Egypt here. So she was a female slave to his wife Sarah, and because she was not able to give birth, she gave Hagar to him to be his wife. And then she gave birth to Sayyidina Ismail in Mecca before Sarah was able to give birth to Ishaq and Yaqub. But how did she have this female slave? It happened that Sayyidina Ibrahim ﷺ went to Palestine with his family, Sarah, after their marriage. When they left Iraq, because of the persecution of his people, when they wanted to kill him for his embrace of Islam, because he became a prophet and he told his people not to worship idols and false gods. They actually refused and they tried to kill him, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helped him and he escaped their plan to assassinate him. Actually, when he went to Palestine, he passed by Egypt. When he was coming back, he was attacked by a gang of snatchers and kidnappers who were working for a pharaoh in Egypt. He was like the king in Egypt, so they were working for him. And the king used to take wives of women from people, and if these women were wives for the men in their presence, then the king will kill the husbands and take the wives. But actually, if the men were not husbands to the women, then the king would not do anything to the men. When Sayyidina Ibrahim was coming from Egypt, going back to Iraq, because Sayyidina Ibrahim ﷺ lived in Iraq. He was in Iraq and like in that area. Actually, he lived in Sham when he was alive. So when he was coming back, then they kidnapped his wife. They asked him about the woman, her relationship with him. He said, "She is my sister." Of course, maybe perhaps his response seemed to be a lie, but actually it was not a lie, because even if she was his wife, but actually she was his sister too in Islam, because every woman in Islam is a sister to every man, whether they're biological brother and sister, or like they have marital relationship with each other. So he was not lying, but apart from being his sister, but she was also his wife, but he didn't reveal that to the snatchers. So then Ibrahim did this out of his inability to do anything for her at that moment, because imagine a gang of killers who were ready to do anything to a person who would not give them what they wanted. So I think this is something very very bigger than his own ability. Then he left them with her, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to take revenge for him. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala really took the revenge for him in a very short period of time. And the king took her in his custody, took her to a secret place, trying to do something bad with her. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helped her. He could not do anything. Whenever he tried to approach her, he became still. He could not do anything. He was just handicapped and he was powerless. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ended up stopping him from even touching her. then he said this woman must be an angel or something very strange. Then he said maybe she's a holy person. Then he gave her Hagar as a present for persecuting her. So we can see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in control of everything. This is what we have to believe. Then this belief will not make us rash whenever something comes. We have to put our trust in Allah, and we know that nothing can happen except with His own help. So that's what a Muslim should be doing. Sometimes we cannot be rash just to say we have to fight anyway. And no. Sometimes we need to be patient and put our trust in Allah and be sure that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to take revenge for us. And we know, apart from saying La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He responds to the calls of the wronged people. A person that feels that he is wronged from someone else, they're wronged from some other people. Some other people wronged them. Then the wrong people, when they call Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be telling the call that لَأَنْصُرَنَّكِ وَلَا بَعْدَ حِينٍ. Because the call, after the calling of the wronged person, the call rises into the sky, waiting for the response from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be telling the very call that لَأَنْصُرَنَّكِ وَلَا بَعْدَ حِينٍ. I will definitely answer you, even if it is going to take some time. So this gives us like a rest of mind that when someone wrongs us, we don't have to be rash, that we have to take the revenge even if we are not able to do that. So that at the end, so we end up perhaps, or let's say in this type of situation, we may end up losing our lives, and even losing the life of the people that we're trying to rescue is also possible. Perhaps we may lose them. So then at the same time, Prophet Muhammad said, "Da'watul mazlumi laysa bainaha wa bain Allah hijab." That the call of the wrong person, the cheated one, then there is no any intermediary between that call and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will hear it immediately and He will take the response. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in control of everything. If you are cheated or wrong from someone else and you don't have anything to do, then you don't have to be rash and lose your life in addition to what you have lost earlier. Then you should call Allah. Allah will take the control of everything, and He's going to help you for that. This is one incident. This is a kind of ruling that if someone has this type of problem, then he is allowed to let go this mother or this sister or this wife at that very moment. Then he will take some other actions after then, calling Allah for assistance. So, and this was the ruling passed by Sheikh Yasser Barhami here in Cairo, when he passed the ruling into the media that if a gang of rapers trying to rape his wife came to him, then he is allowed Islamically to let go that wife with them in order to spare his life and her life. They will just rape her and then they will go. Then instead of being rash and try to take the revenge and stop them, they may end up killing him and even killing her too. So this was what he said. But people spoke about that ruling outrageously, and they didn't even ask the scholars, because most of those people that responded to his ruling, most of them were masses and they were not scholars of Islam, and they didn't know much about what to say in this type of circumstance. So they were just angry that how could you leave your wife or your mother or your sister for the rapers to do whatever they like, to strip her from to strip her from her clothes, and this is not good. You have to die for her and stuff. So this is one aspect. The other aspect is that what if a person chooses to respond instantly and even to sacrifice with his own life in defending his own prestige, his own wife, his own sister, his own mother. They are our flesh, they are from us. So leaving her with people to strip her out of her clothes, it is something ridiculous. Sometimes we will say, no, we have to fight for it, and we have to. Yes, this is allowed. We can say if one chooses to do that, like to fight in the end. So saying that you can only take my sister and rape her, or my mother, or my wife, to do whatever you want. That's going to be over my dead body. So you have the right to do that. Islam says, "Man mata duna irdihi fahuwa shahid." Whoever dies defending his own prestige, then he is a martyr. Martyr is shahid, who dies in the way of Allah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive him without questioning him of his previous sins. Then this is what we know as shahid in Islam. Whoever, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, our Prophet said, "Man mata duna irdihi fahuwa shahid." Whoever dies while defending his own prestige and respect, then he is a martyr. He is shaheed. وَمَنْ مَاتَ دُونَ مَالِهِ فَهُوَ شَهِيد. And whoever dies fighting to retrieve his physical property, he is also a martyr. He's going to Jannah straight away, as long as he dies as a Muslim, defending his own prestige. So this possibility is also justified. So if someone dies, then he is justified. But if he lets go the sister or mother or wife because of his inability to do anything for them at that very moment, then he is also justified. So we have to study the circumstances surrounding the incidences before we can pass rulings, Islamic rulings, because we are speaking of Islam. Al-Muwakki'una an-Allah, the people that the signatories for Islam, then they have to go back to that Islam and look at the incidences in accordance to the ayat of the Quran or Sunnah of the Prophet. Because the Prophet also said in the hadith, he said, إن الله تجاوز لي عن أمتي ما وسوست به قلوبهم وما وسوست به قلوبهم وما استكرهوا عليه. Whatever you are forced to do in Islam, you are under the point of gun, then you are not guilty of it because you don't have the ability to refuse to do what they're telling you to do, except that, unless you lose your life. So in that case, you can do what they want you to do, except if it is like to rape someone or to kill someone, because you end up getting killed. So if they want you to kill someone, otherwise they will kill you. You cannot kill the other person. Or they want you to rape a woman, otherwise they will kill you. You have to say no, because this is the ird and this is the life. So you cannot save your own respect or prestige or your life, so against violating the right of others in life and word and respect. So other things that maybe they force you to drink alcohol, they force you to kill a dog, they force you to steal money, something, all these things, then you are not obliged to refuse. So you can go with them and do what they say, but except if they force you to take life or to violate the respect or the prestige of people in Islam. So this is the way of studying the circumstances. But I saw a female teacher responding just because of her of being a woman to some incidences like this, and she's trying to speak out of supporting another female that was kidnapped by a gang of kidnappers in the presence of a man. So the man would look like he would look like betraying her or like something like that. So we cannot justify what he says just like that. We need to study the circumstances. So in such circumstances, he may be guilty of doing that, and in some others, he will not be like that. Like Sayyidina Ibrahim, that we just mentioned a story about him right now, about Sarah and Hagar. Because his patience and his wisdom, he later gained Sarah, and even he gained Hagar at the end of the day. So this is what we Muslims should do, and we should put our patience in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and our trust. And I know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take revenge, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help, because وَمَن يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. Whoever depends on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is going to suffice him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will suffice him, and He will answer his call, because he is already cheated and he is already wronged. This is the ruling. So we have two possibilities. It's either that you leave them because you are unable to do anything at that moment. But of course, you take all the actions after them. You try to negotiate with the kidnappers. You try to wait that they do what they want to do. If you are not able to do anything, then you get your wife back, or your mother, or your sister. Or you try to fight that, no, I cannot leave this. And if you die for that, then you are a martyr. So this is what Islam says. So we can't convict anybody without studying the circumstances relating to any incidents in Islam. So that we don't convict people without any sin or without any fault. So here is where I stop. And subhanakallah alhamdulillah. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Thank you, Mariam.